Welcome to another episode of Spiritual Mind Power Affirmations. This is Mystical Perspectives, and I'm up to episode 12. I've been reading from Spiritual Mind Power Affirmations, a book by Dr. Paul Leon Masters. It's available at metaphysics.com and amazon.com. And today's chapter is Secrets of New Beginnings. What I'll be doing is doing the affirmations and saying them twice, and then we'll do a talk about this subject, and then we'll go into some thoughts and meditations and prayers and close it out with that. I really love going through these spiritual mind power affirmations. I read one page, which is one chapter, and then I meditate on it for about a week and see what comes up, and it's always amazing how deep it gets. So today's one is the Spiritual Secrets of New Beginnings, and it's from, if you have the book, it's on page 32. Dr. Masters always believed very strongly in meditation. So on the first affirmation, it's on meditation. It says, "Through my daily practice of meditation, I establish and maintain contact with the ultimate, ongoing, creative, universal consciousness, Source, God, the power of eternal new beginnings." Well, that covers a lot, doesn't it? And you can cover a lot when you go into meditation. The thing is, when you go into meditation, the idea is to go into the silence, to go into yourself, to relax and connect and plug into the one source, which is the ultimate, ongoing, creative, universal consciousness, Source, and God. But a lot of times we get distracted or we have thoughts in our minds. No matter how long you've been meditating, this happens. I've been meditating over 50 years and still go through this. So we're going to repeat this affirmation. I'll repeat it slowly so you can say it out loud if you wish. Through my daily practice of meditation, I establish and maintain contact with the ultimate, ongoing, creative, universal consciousness, Source, God, the power of eternal new beginnings. There's this amazing thing that happens to us when we meditate. We are in this timeless kind of connection with God in the moment. Yet when we are awake, with our eyes open, living in the world, we don't always notice this timelessness. We're very much in time and lost in time, and we need to always plug back into that source in meditation. That's why it's good to meditate in the morning, right after you've woken up, before you do all your emails and check all that stuff. Find a nice quiet place. I like meditating at 3 or 4 in the morning. I get up about the latest 4, maybe 4:30 if I'm really sleeping in. But that's a time no one can really bother you. It's a great time. And before you go to bed at night. The next affirmation's on visualization. Daily, I take a few moments to visualize or imagine the interior of my body filled with the creative light of God's presence, from which all new beginnings originate before becoming physical manifestations. Now, in most all of these affirmations, you will find that there is reference to meditation and visualizations. So it's visualizations, affirmations, meditation, and prayers. In this visualization, the second time I read it, why don't you visualize your own body filled with this light? Daily, I take a few moments to visualize or imagine the interior of my body filled with the creative light of God's presence, from which all new beginnings originate before becoming physical manifestations. So again, you're getting back to that place where you're letting your body be completely clear as a vessel for the light in these affirmations and all the positive seed thoughts to come. The next affirmations, release past. I give thanks to God's presence within for all past good I have experienced and release this as well as all negativity of my past, that I may be in the universal God mind energy of new beginnings. Now, this is kind of, some people don't have a problem, or just in the moment they don't think of the past. Some people really can get stuck, and a lot of the past sticks with them. And this, of course, can be issues for people who have had post-traumatic stress syndrome as well. So releasing is very important, because until we can release the past, there's no way to make the new available. So I'll repeat this again. I give thanks to God's presence within for all past good I have experienced, and release this as well as all negativity of my past, that I may be in the universal God mind energy of new beginnings. This is a good one if you do have a problem letting go of the past. If you hold on to the past, you might want to just repeat this one. Write it down or put it by your altar and repeat this as an affirmation that you do daily. The next one is will. I give up my personal will as God's will is in charge of establishing exactly what new beginnings I should focus on. Well, always you'll find in Dr. Masters, daily he tells you to give your personal will to God. So this is something we have to always do, to let go of our ego and let God work through us. So I'm repeating here. I give up my personal will as God's will is in charge of establishing exactly what new beginnings I should focus on. And if we're really doing God's will, then we do let go of the past, and then we are really able to be in the flow and be in the place where we can begin without blocking or having fear of new beginnings. The next affirmation is on creativity. Universal creating God conscious idea energies flow into the conscious level of my mind to initiate complete new beginnings. And repeating, universal creating God conscious idea energies flow into the conscious level of my mind to initiate and complete new beginnings. Now you notice here that he says complete. A lot of creative people that get tuned into God get these amazing, great ideas. All of a sudden these ideas are just flowing into them, but to complete them can take a lot of extra energy, and you might find creative types not completing the creative ideas that come to them. It's one thing to get creative ideas, and it's another thing to complete them and then maintain them. The next affirmation is eternal now. Whatever new beginnings God consciousness places in my conscious mind is already so, already a reality, already happened in universal consciousness of the mind of God. Repeating, whatever new beginnings God consciousness places in my conscious mind is already so, already a reality, already happened in universal consciousness of the mind of God. And that is one of the ones, we always talk about this, and so does Dr. Master, how there is really, in God's consciousness, there's no time. And if it's going to be happening, sometimes it's already there. It's just waiting for that time and the right moment and place for it to happen. And when we affirm this, we take away the negative thoughts or doubts about that. And the last one here is empowerment. I dwell in God and God in me, whose nature to create new beginnings is individualized in me to empower my body, mind, and soul to be successful in creating new beginnings in my physical life and beyond. I like that. He even adds and beyond, obviously beyond the physical life. Repeating here, I dwell in God, and God in me, whose nature to create new beginnings is individualized in me to empower my body, mind, and soul to be successful in creating new beginnings in my physical life and beyond. So when you connect with God, you have the greatest power to make these things happen. So this is one of the gifts, of course, of connecting with God. We're going to talk a little bit about beginnings and being new. It's a very deep subject. I thought of it from a few angles. The Christ mind consciousness. The Christ said, "Remember not the former things, nor consider things of old." So again, we're taking the same thing that we just talked about. It's not being stuck in the past. When you're stuck there, you're closing off the opportunity of the flow of what can come and what you're supposed to be continuing to do. This life is continually changing, yet we can become afraid and get stuck and stay right where we are when there's so much more waiting ahead for us. In Revelation, it says, "And he who was seated on the throne said, Behold, I am making all things new." Also he said, "Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." Now that's one of those things you can always remember and put on your altar. Behold, I make all things new. And it is the truth in a way that goes very, very mystically deep. There is from this source this light that is a transforming light. It's a light that completely, well, some people call you born again when you discover that new light of the Christ light. But when you can experience this enlightenment, you are experiencing the same thing. You're seeing the world as if it was all new. After I had an enlightenment experience, everything looked new. There was different colors, there was different energies, there was different understanding, there's a different way of hearing. This indeed is the truth. When you rise up to another level or another dimension of consciousness, you are indeed connecting to that pure light from the highest level of consciousness and seeing all things as new. Every moment, of course, is a new beginning. Every season is a part of that well, it's a reflection, isn't it? When we have winter and then we have spring and things are born anew, every season has its purpose and is a reflection of what's happening in our life. Shows us how to let go of the old and embrace the new. And part of our soul and our energy is reaching ever upwards, pushing free to touch the sky like a flower ready to bloom. The magic of life is always being rebirthed from tools and the roots merged right there from the depths deep inside us. And when we release the old, we have a chance to be born again, to begin again, to see things anew. And we can celebrate that gift of this blessing. It's the love of creation that brings this new to us. By letting go of the old limitations, you can plant the seeds of a new beginning. And you can really see and become part of that miracle of life. You can see it when a baby's born. That miracle of life, just that brand new creation. All the future ahead of it. And you can embrace that power of God's eternal creation right here in your life. You can be a brand new person in that Christ consciousness and that enlightenment and that awakening. New beginning, new creation. God is a God of all things new. And if you trust in that energy and you really have faith and take that at the power of the truth of it, then you can let go of the fear, and you really can make transitions into the new in beautiful ways and understand the power of that God consciousness is behind you. There's another great one. I'm going to quote this from Corinthians. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, a new creation has come. The old has gone and the new is here. And that is, again, that same truth. We can choose to believe it, and we can walk in that truth, or we can deny it, and we can cut ourselves off from having that beauty of the brand newness in our heart. It's a transformation. It's the same as the going from the cocoon to the butterfly. And we have to let go of the baggage. You know, in life, it's so easy to carry a lot of baggage, right? I mean, as you get older, you look back and you think of all the baggage. All you have to do is try to move. When you do a moving experience and try to see all the things we collect and hold on to, and you look at all the things that you have to pack up, and then you try to give it all away, and there's still more, and there's still more. But beneath all that baggage that we carry in our hearts, there's also a true heart, that true self that doesn't need all that baggage. It's a hope and the courage that's waiting there for you to really blossom into your full self. You can look in the mirror and discover your true face without the baggage, without all the clothes that you have, with all the baggage you carry. And you have to trust yourself enough and have the strength to emerge from the shadow of fear and find the blessing of being released to the power of God, so you can embrace that love that you are when you have that faith and trust in the human race. And you can do that when you look within and find the power of that redeeming grace that is always waiting for you there. It also says in Ephesians in the Bible, be made new in the attitude of your mind, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And again, that's reflecting that pure light, the pure mind of God that makes you a brand new person, that is that birth that comes, that is celebrated at springtime and at Easter. It's not just the Christ and biblical references. There's a wonderful teacher that I'd studied in a book that I highly recommend getting called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind is a book of teachings by the late Shinro Suzuki. And he was one of the first Zen teachers to come to San Francisco many, many years ago. And one of his key teachings was, in his talks, how to have a beginner's mind and how important it is. Now, I began the metaphysical and mystical teachings and studies with Dr. Master when I was a teenager. I was about 14 years old. So what happens after a while is you begin to think, you know it all. You begin to think, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. And it really can shut you down. And you have to be able to look at everything you do with the beginner's mind, and you take away that knowing or thinking you know, and you leave yourself open to a higher understanding. Another Zen teacher from Korea has a book called Only Don't Know. And when you leave yourself open to that power of seeing things fresh with the beginner's mind, it changes you, and it gives you enthusiasm, and it gives you hope, and it re-energizes you. I have been studying Dr. Master's books all my life and working with him, and I've been finding just reading these spiritual mind power affirmations gives me this new look at it. We're going to do a meditation here, so just get yourself relaxed and be comfortable and sit erect, and let's breathe in, hold the breath for a couple of seconds, and breathe out. Release any tension, any thoughts, any concerns. Breathe in and hold the breath, and now breathe everything out. Releasing, going deeper and deeper into a peaceful, calm state to that heart of your heart and connecting to your soul. Be still and know that I am God. Breathe in again and let that breath bring you brand new energy as you release the old limitations. Breathe in the seeds of new beginnings, new love, and breathe out. Relax and let any tightness in your face or shoulders or hips or legs go. Let your body become an empty vessel of light. Breathe in that light that comes from Spirit and let it come down through your crown chakra. Let it fill your head, your throat, your neck, shoulders, and let it find a place deep there in your heart. And let this light in your heart make a place to magnify the glory of the love that is there. Bring in the Holy Spirit and see the power to connect with God gives you the chance of beginning again, of releasing any old thoughts or limitations. Feel Spirit pushing and touching you to your soul and connecting you with God. Let this radiant light fill every single cell of your body with new energy, new rebirth, renewing, restoring, regenerating, healing, and bringing wholeness to you. Merge with that presence of new grace. Smile. Celebrate this gift of being born into the newness with every single energy and enthusiasm you can give that connects you to God. Become aware of this renewal and the hope and the grace that it brings. Feel yourself being a new person. Embrace that person with love as you would a new child. Think of the song, Amazing Grace. Think of the miracle and healing God brings. Be grateful in your heart, body, mind, and soul for this gift of new beginnings. Now slowly come out of meditation. Be aware of how you feel. Be grateful to God for this renewal of this wonderful spirit and light. I'll close with this message that I wrote. The radiant, shimmering light of all is alive in God's presence in your heart and soul. Can you resonate to its vibration and let it carry you to the source from which you come? For it is a living spark within you. It is the core of all life. It is the magnet which draws you to love, the unconditional love that never forgets, a love that asks you to be love and share that love in being. It is the one source of all light from which we were created, and it is the way we are transformed. The Lord said, "Behold, I make all things new." Let that perfect radiance transform you and renew you. Be in tune with the peace and harmony that radiates forth from this presence through your being. Let that pure spirit pour the nectar of God's wine into your thirsty heart and soul and anoint you with love. Hold the light of God within your heart as the essence of your presence. See that light, be that light, and let that light live in you as love, for this is the transformation the presence of Christ holds. It is a promise you gave when you ventured into the higher realms to live here on earth, and it's the gift that will carry you home. I'll close with the Aramaic Lord's Prayer. Father, Mother of the cosmos, shimmering light of all, focus your light within us as we breathe your holy breath. enter the sanctuary of our hearts, uniting within us the sacred rays of your power and beauty. Let your heart's desire unite heaven and earth through our sacred union. Help us to fulfill what lies within the circle of our lives today. Forgive our secret fears as we freely choose to forgive the secret fears of others. Let us not enter forgetfulness, tempted by false appearances. For from your astonishing fire comes the eternal song, which sanctifies all, renewed eternally in our lives and throughout creation. We seal these words in our hearts, committed in trust and faith. This talk was based on the Spiritual Mind Power Affirmations book by Dr. Paul Leon Masters. And you can get this book on Amazon and also at metaphysics.com. Also, you can go to my site, mysticalperspectives.com. I have all of the different talks I have there all posted. I thank you so much for joining me. It's truly a blessing being here with you, and I thank you for taking the time to listen. God bless you, and love and light always.